Oh God, it's hot, Steve. Not as hot as your mum, though. How are we doing, everybody? It's Kev Ashford back in the saddle for a van cam. This is your road trip. It's Manchester United against Arsenal here on the biggest Man United fan channel in the land. This is the United Stand. And thank you very much for joining me. This is your preview. Yes, it is Manchester United against the Arsenal. Previously at Manchester United, Crystal Palace 4, Manchester United 0. Who saw that coming? Well, I'll tell you something. If you remember me being sat here last week addressing the United Stand, the United Stand massive, I did say I'm very optimistic usually, but I was very worried about that evening at Selhurst Park. And didn't that come to fruition? Is that a word? We'll roll with it. It means like it just like grew or something. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, yes, it was. So I wasn't shocked. Of course, I was disappointed. But as I keep saying, there's certain players at this club. I look at them and I just don't really have an attachment to them anymore. I think last season we had that bond. You know, at the end of games, the likes of Martinez, who's obviously injured, the likes of Varane and that coming off the pitch, Casemiro as well, beating the chest with the crowd. We had that bit of a connection. And at this moment, for some reason, the drop-off has been incredible. And we can put that down to injuries. We can put it down to numerous things. The worry for me at this moment in time is that we are sleepwalking towards an FA Cup final against arguably the best team in the world. And there is no form to be taken into it at this current time. Now, we have 3 Premier League games left. That starts with Arsenal today. It's then Newcastle midweek and it ends with Brighton. And that then, the game time, the lead up to that FA Cup final is done and dusted. So we need to start seeing something. We need to start putting in performances. All I'm going to do is a favour. Finger that like button. And the concern is, and like I said before about sleepwalking into an FA Cup final, it's not just that, it's this saying, you know, and there is a saying of the players are on the beach. You know, they're preparing for the holidays and that. We're supposed to be preparing for a big Manchester derby. We got done over in it last season. We want to end the season on a high. And the concern at the minute, you know, a player like Casemiro is coming in for criticism, and probably rightly. Yes, he's been played out of position. He's not a centre-back, but he's not been great in the central defensive midfield role as well. But to play him at centre-back, he struggled against Crystal Palace. And I say that comment before about, oh, the players are on the beach, which they shouldn't be because it's an FA Cup final. But a player like Casemiro against Crystal Palace was that bad. He looked like he was on the beach. And I mean, like with the snorkel on, sombrero, looked like he was running around in flip-flops. And that summed up Casemiro, the lack of pace, you know, what he did when he tried watching the ball go out, you know, and it led to the goal. These are silly mistakes, you know, and people will try and pin this on Erik Ten Hag, but what's he supposed to do? He has come out in his press conference, he has said that players, Mason Mount is injured. You know, is this bad luck? Or is it the medical department? Because I don't remember him having many injuries when he was at Chelsea. Yet he's come to Man United and it's almost like a virus that runs through this team, that everybody starts picking up injuries. Is it the medical department? Did Manchester United not pick up on something when they actually signed him? You know, did they not do the proper checks where he was prone to injury in the future? I don't know, but it just seems do you know what? It's so hot. That's better. Yeah, it's absolutely, I can't believe I just done that. It's crazy, but it is so hot here in Manchester at the minute. But I'll be dry in a minute. It's like nearly 20 degrees, 20 odd degrees, man. I'm not used to this. We are sleepwalking towards an FA Cup final. Erik Ten Hag hasn't really come out with much on the injury front, and he needs to. I shouldn't have done that, man. Spitting water everywhere. We need players to start returning. Luke Shaw's had an injury setback. Lisandro Martinez being back in contention. But I would not start him. I've heard a few people say, I wouldn't even start him in the FA Cup final if he was anywhere near fit. Well, I'm sorry. But apparently he's going to be going to the Copa America. So if he's fit enough to do that, even a 60% fit Lisandro Martinez starts over Casemiro every day of the week. You know, will Johnny Evans be available? There is so many players that are injured. We're down to the bare bones. But Arsenal is going to be a difficult game for a multitude of reasons. But the main reason being that they're going for a league title. So what more inspiration do they need? Motivation to be coming to Old Trafford. They need to keep pace with Manchester City. And again, wouldn't it be typical of Man United to actually turn up today and put in a performance? It's at Old Trafford and we go for it. But again, the team selection is going to be a huge worry. You know, will we have 2 recognised centre-backs that we can play? The midfield area is becoming an issue again. It's an area that Erik Ten Hag will have to address in the summer because we've got an ageing Casemiro. Apparently Al Nassr are interested in him. I can see United definitely offloading Casemiro this season or at the end of the season. You've got an ageing Eriksen. And they were so brilliant players last season. But it just shows you that extra 1 year, it gets away from you. And that's where we need the legs. Kobe Mainoo's been brilliant this season. But it's a part of the team that we need to address. Højlund's a concern at the minute. I'm not going to lie to you, but at the same time, I think that he's been certainly overplayed. Really, oh God, it's so hot. Højlund, I can't even think what I'm saying. Højlund his hold-up play. It has to improve. For this team to crack on, the hold-up play out of a striker is absolutely fundamental to everything, especially in a difficult game. If you're playing the likes of Man City, Liverpool, if you need a breather, you need to get up the pitch, the ball needs to start sticking to Højlund. And yes, he'll run around, he'll give you plenty of energy, he'll run the channels. There's an argument that the wingers overlook him constantly and they're not passing to him. He is making intelligent runs, but when he's dropping deep into, let's say, the number 10 role, he needs to be holding up the ball there so Man United as a team can move up the pitch. And I think against Crystal Palace it wasn't great, but at the same time there was nobody really that could have walked off that pitch. That stood in front of the United fans. God, I can't even talk, man, it's so hot. But they stood there and the United fans applauded them. Oh, I say applauded them, they were singing. That's because they're in love with Manchester United. And not for 1 minute were they applauding what they'd just seen. And you could see the United players were stood at the side of the pitch a bit bemused. And you know what the thing is? That was absolutely quality. It was almost reverse psychology by the Man United fans because you had the players on the pitch almost looking embarrassed. And if that's not the wake-up call that these players need, then by God, Manchester United is not the club for you. And that's why there will be so many changes in the summer. But listen, it's Manchester United against Arsenal today. This is not going to be easy. But like I said earlier, I would not be surprised in the least if United come out, put in a performance. Listen, if it's not good enough, then fair enough. You know, the season, the Premier League season for me is written off. Absolutely written off, weeks ago. But we have to still turn up. Yes, we'll watch the games and that. But for me, it's all about trying to take some positivity into the FA Cup final. And that really starts today. It then cracks on into Newcastle and it ends with Brighton. Can we end the season on a positive to take into the final? We will see, won't we? Or will these group of players, these players living off, moments of individual brilliance, and that's all it is? Because as far as a team, there is no style of play, and that's something again that Erik Ten Hag has to be held accountable for. We will see if we get a reaction today against Arsenal. It's one of them, I do not trust certain players in this squad, but we'll have to see, won't we? Let me know in the comment section what you are predicting. Do you think Manchester United will win? Will it be a draw? Or are we going to get our asses well and truly whipped? That's what that was. Thanks very much for watching the Van Cam. There's an awful lot of people that send me messages and they say that the Van Cam now is part of their match day ritual, which is absolutely brilliant. absolutely buzzing about that. And thank you very much. I will be at Old Trafford today, and I just go along and well, I've got my boss's ticket, so I'm getting free drinks, so that's why I'm going. Otherwise I'd be like, I'm not going to watch that crap, you know what I mean? Antiques Roadshows on BBC 4 or whatever. There's some guy trying to sell a pot. He might get, you know, like 500 quid for it. That's exciting. It's not, I'm only joking. Anyway, for United, you know what's coming. Be kind, be nice to others, treat people the way that you would want to be treated yourself. And for Manchester United against the Arsenal, come on, United!